Hey everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Attack Productions. Today I bank be joined once again by Nick and Austin.
Hello.
Howdy, howdy.
And today's matchup is Nick versus Austin. We have Nick bringing back Helku, while Austin's bringing back King Piccolo. Like always, it's buttons on below. Feel free to click. They're there for a reason. But guys, let's get into this.
I had fought Helku once, and I can't remember if it was against Cooler, maybe with Cooler, or if it was King Piccolo. And I hardly remember what this deck did. All I remembered was uh, I think you run the secret rare, the Super 17, whatever it is, absorbing 18. And that's literally all I remember about the deck.
That's all that matters. So this is the deck that I played a lot when it came out, and I actually took it to Gen Con. And when I played it at the time, I focused a lot more on the archetype, um, which I like the archetype, being able to reveal cards, play them once they're discarded. I like that effect. But when I was just meandering around, Jimmy was like, "Oh man, this is going to be the best deck in the format," and I was like, "What? No, you're silly." So I tried to revisit it, and I really took out most of the archetype. I tried to run it as bare bones as possible and just put in more yellow good stuff. And the yellow good stuff is like it says good stuff, so it's enough to run on its own to try and run a minimal archetype, and it worked really well. This all night did.
I feel like most yellow decks are going that direction now too, where it's just good yellow stuff, and it's only getting better from here. I do like the changes you made to this deck, and I will point that out as we continue on with this video.
Yeah, it was. I was able to be a lot more flexible this time around, and my draws were pretty good opening hands. Essentially, the way the leader works is you want to kind of run the archetype as soon as possible. So turn two is when you can do your alternate awaken ability. So you want to do that as early. You want to do that turn two. So when you're doing your mulligan, you want to see the archetype first, and then once you at least get your awaken off, then you can go into more of the yellow good stuff. And then that pivot is usually where you can lock your opponent down. You can stay super defensive, and then you can push with your yellow good stuff.
And for those who aren't really familiar with Helku, because it's something I don't think a lot of people see anymore. If you're familiar with Magic, you kind of get to scry a lot, and then with that, being able to, if I'm correct, you mill the top card of your deck. If it's a card with the auto or permanent, whatever it is, you pay the one to play it, right?
Yeah, so there are other cards in the archetype where you don't have to pay a cost. But in the build that I'm running right now, I'm running the blocker Goku and the double striker Goku, where you have to pay an energy for it. But the effects are worth doing because the double strike Goku will KO anything in rest mode, and the blocker Goku will draw a card and you can tap anything. So for the one energy investment, it's good.
And before we get too far away from it, King Piccolo is a deck that likes to use every resource it possibly can, including its life, for combo power.
Yeah, that's the one thing that's nice about this whole deck is that your life is basically a second hand, and this deck, draws a whole lot and everything, is about combo power. Where like I think besides the unisons, there's like maybe there's three cards I can't easily combo with. I mean, besides like the extra cards, obviously, like after image and whatnot.
So, correct me if I'm wrong. Now, seeing the one drop on the board, I don't know if you're too familiar with the yellow slug package or what to expect from seeing that one drop, but could you have technically -2 right away and just killed your unison to target your own card to blow up his one drop because they're both 4Ks?
Yeah, I could have, but also I need at least a one drop of him to like be on the board in order to get my engine, and I want that engine turn 3.
Gotcha.
And so basically what the engine is you combo from your life a tambourine who comes into play, and then if you have 3 life face up or a card underneath your 2 specified unison, he gets like pseudo dual attack and gets plus 5k. Then you EX evolve on King Piccolo, the new King Piccolo, and he gives one of your Demon Clan plus 20k. So you then have a plus 40k dual attacker, and that's kind of That's one of the 2 big engines in the game in this deck that I use, and you really need that in order to kind of get going, and this is kind of where I start to tilt as a player because I was like, oh, well, you know what? I don't think it's that bad because I won't be doing too much, but this slug decimates this deck. This deck is all about drawing cards, having big hand, combo power, getting everything you need basically, and that slug destroys everything.
That slug definitely does put unfortunate pressure against you because now, like I said,
Yeah,
it takes your entire engine away.
and one of the
Yeah.
good things about it is it's only a 6 card investment. So you run 3 of the 1-drop slugs and then 3 of this. And coupled with Poutine, where both have barrier and slug needs a bond too to get the effect where your opponent can't add cards to their hand, it fits in literally any yellow deck. I highly recommend it. It's a super cheap, like the cards are like $1 a piece, and like I said, you can slide it in literally any yellow deck. It just turns off so many archetypes, strategies. It's amazing.
So before we get too far away, I mentioned also I'm going to call this out. King Piccolo the Unison does have an auto on counters. You can pop a card 15 or less, or something like that. You could have targeted the token in this case.
Yeah, but like we talked about that, and in all honesty, in the long run, it didn't matter too much. Like my hand size is not big. I think I have like 6 cards right now, like maybe 7, and his hand size is like 15 or 16 or something. Like it's massive.
And that's what I wanted to
So
ask you about this particular leader on the
yeah,
Awakened side. What's its activate battle? Is it for battle cards, leaders, or is it any card that you have?
the activate battle on King Piccolo is you pick a Demon Clan or Namekian in your life, and then you place a card from top of your deck into your life face up, and you combo with the Demon Clan and Namekian you picked. So that's I kept thinking because I was like, I'm gonna KO Poutine. Like, wait, that Poutine freaking has barrier, and then that Goku, sorry, is 19k, and then also Slug for whatever fucking reason has barrier. Like that was a big weakness in this. I found I had no barrier removal, and I also thought I had some because I was like, oh, I have 1 drum. I can easily find drum in this deck. But as I told Nick, I think at one point I was like, oh wait, no, drum has barrier. He minuses 10. He's minus 10, ignoring barrier. So I always thought if I need to get rid of something with barrier, I could just minus 10 it and then attack it. So I just kind of saw a weakness in the deck here where there is removal, but not ignoring barrier. So I'm probably, if I'm going to play this again anytime soon, I'm going to add 2 of those Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken Gokus.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I would say, like, what's great about that slug, I thought it was. Well, I thought you had to have another yellow battle card. No, it's just bond 2, which means as long as you have another battle card in your area, you're good.
Yeah.
And Nick had pointed out, Poutine has barrier. It's easy to get out pretty cheaply for the stack, being yellow and whatnot, and it just works out in this favor.
Yeah, especially with this archetype in general, because it has so many ways just to tap cards. Like the Unison, the Android 18 will tap if you activate Spirit Boost, which you do off the leader to do your archetypal effects. The Goku blocker that's on board, that'll tap on play. You run 1 power of the Super Saiyan because it's limited, that'll tap. There's tons of ways to tap your opponent's cards in this deck, so it's super easy to get them on board.
Yeah. He started to get a board presence here, and normally I'd be able to draw and get some other cards. Like I have 1 card that blows up the field, which is the secret rare, and it normally I'd be okay with trying to find that and getting it because I can easily find it in this deck with how much you draw and you search and stuff, reshuffle. But not having those draws really, really fucks me up here because that that my one big board wipe removal I just can't get. And here we go with the drum where I'm like, oh, it has barrier, it doesn't ignore barrier.
Which in this case, not since you can't get your draws off, being able to combo from your life isn't a bad thing. But due to Poutine, it most likely will be arrested. In this case, Nick did choose the 1-drop instead.
Yeah. Like I said, right here we
So-
talk. Yeah.
it has barrier, so I couldn't target it, so I had to hit that. But I mean, still being able to switch anything is fine enough because now he can't combo with it. Now he has to do some little more things if he wants to do extra plays with the card. So at the end of the day, it's more of a precaution, but it still works.
Yeah, this leader doesn't draw on, either of its sides with attack. And that's because everything else you have in the deck draws, and you get to combo from your life, so you get to do all that extra stuff. And so the fact that you don't get to draw every time you attack does kind of hurt. You kind of have to, against this type of slug, because like you just kind of have to hope that you see something. And I think what frustrates me the most is I didn't see the slug being as big of an issue because I don't play against yellow hardly ever, and I had the secret in my opening hand. And I put it back.
Oof.
Yeah,
But
so
that's the thing about best
I
of
was like,
ones, where you're not knowing what to expect until it's too late.
yeah. And that entire time I had Violent Rays when I mulliganed, and I was hoping he wouldn't attack with the slug first. Maybe I caught him slipping once, and maybe he just forgets his order, forgets how he wants to do things, and I can just catch him in it. But no,
I think
Buddy.
anyone who's
yeah,
ever
he's
forgotten to do that slug attack first has regretted it probably, and then from that point
oh
on, they
yeah,
never forget it again.
yeah. If Nick doesn't, from when I play with him, he doesn't really mess up, with his timing a whole with what he wants to attack with. He really thinks ahead, and plus he knows this deck pretty well. So like Nick piloted this
Yeah.
deck beautifully.
Yeah, and with the slug specifically, I have no other way to tap it besides swinging with it. A lot of decks will use the Vegeta Unison of Fury, I think is what it's called, where that'll tap one of your battle cards so it can gain a marker. But in this case, I don't run it because I wanted to only run the one Unison, so I have to swing with it first. So I'd rather stop my opponent from drawing than me drawing off my leader, just because it's more beneficial to me to keep them as low as possible, and then once he's at the right point, I can just go in for the kill in one turn.
And then even though I'm at 6 life, he took 1 life and I brought it back. This entire time, because I haven't been able to draw cards, I feel like I'm constantly losing. Like it's one of those things where you feel like it's a constant uphill battle you're trying to get, and like it's like a 90-degree angle you're trying to get up. And
Yeah, because at this point, your hand size was about like what 3 or 4 cards.
it's small. Like I am literally trying everything I can to get something out of here and do something, and that's my hope was to try to get Tambourine, but then because I was kind of in a weird like mindset, I forgot about Poutine just, resting a card. And I was just like, man, I really, really wanted to have just a swing, and then to get rid of that, you have 2 attacks, 20k, you have to, figure it out, and just did not have the luck. I was just trying to bait, and that's really all I could do at this point because I have no hand size and I can't get draws. So I'm just trying to like bait swings, bait plays, try to get like a misplay or something. And right here, you'll see my fury. I see the secret rare, and also I can't draw a card because of Slug. So not only did I get taunted by my own deck, I couldn't even draw one of the cards that I saw.
And I think that
Yeah.
card specifies look top 5,
Oh, yeah, no,
shuffle your deck. So like there's no other option. Like you
Yeah.
have to do it, unfortunately.
Yeah. So I couldn't just put him back on there, and I was like, man, if I just drew a little bit, I would have seen, the unison, or if like I top decked it, into my life, and I could take it. But yeah, with that being the only barrier removal in the deck, it's kind of an issue. I'm so used to playing cooler where I don't even care about barrier. People say this is barrier, I'm like, okay.
And before we go too far with the comments, just want to let you know he's frustrated around the match. He forgot to do the auto again. We know.
Yeah, and I don't think it even is anything. I think that Goku there is like 16. Oh, it's 5. That blocker, that Goku's 5.
The counterplay Goku. Yeah.
Okay, I thought he was 16 or something because I haven't hardly seen that card. I think I played against you with it once.
Yeah, it's a 5k blocker that taps a card that's coming play. You draw 1 card. It's really good for 1 energy if you have the energy slash drop area set up. Speaking of drop area, Nick, how's that looking so far for you?
Oh, it's looking pretty fat. I mean, I'm able to put a lot in there. And at this point, it's kind of just how can I just clear the board enough and just go in one fell swoop. His hand size is low enough to where I can pretty much do whatever I want. I have the energy. I have enough defensive power in my hand to like pretty much stop any plays that he wants to do. So at this point, I think it's time for me to just go in. And then now, seeing he can't really do much besides just straight combo, I have pretty much free reign to do whatever I want.
Yeah, and it's a hard uphill battle with this because look at if he has a massive board state.
And I can't recall. King Piccolo's active battle during your turn only, or can you do it during?
It's either turn. Yeah, it's just activate
Yeah,
battle once per turn.
yeah. So at this point, I mean, I have enough on board. I have enough in my hand. I kind of just play through everything. It's kind of the way you want to build yellow is just play kind of defensively starting off and then just going in one big push. At least that's the way that I like to play the deck. You have a lot of defensive power. You have a lot of ways to just weasel your way out of stuff. And see, he plays his card from the effect, and then I can go into my secret rare and just start steal his stuff. And then I have more the 40k crit swing on board, which I absolutely love the secret rare. I think it's a great addition to any yellow deck, and it's one of the cheaper options right now.
Do you remember who you negged by any chance? Oh, that answers my question. All right, cool.
Yep. Yeah, I had that track the entire time because I knew there was going to be a point where he's going to swing with it. I'm like, you know what? It's going to be there. But yeah, that's like I said, the biggest problem here is not having the removal. If I had a way to get, because Poutine doesn't even bug me that much, like with this deck, because being stalled one turn would not frustrate me, and I just that slug just shuts the deck off, and I'm trying my best to like figure stuff out. Like I put what was it? I put the counter Piccolo I think in there because at some point I'm like I can't use it, so I try to use it for combo power. I try to put stuff in there to use for combo, and I'm just like fighting for my life.
And there's the classic Champa.
Yeah, nothing feels more like I felt more like an uphill battle in this game. I don't think I've gotten destroyed this bad in a long time.
I
That
mean, it happens.
yeah, like I was sitting there and I was like, I think you had like 75k swing, and I was like, I have 25k. I'm sitting there like I think I have 25. Like I have one in my hand I can combo with, and I have two in the board, so it's 30. But
Well, with that being said, I hope you all enjoyed today's video. Keep in mind, the buttons down below and on the screen. And like always, read your cards, know your plays, and fluff out.